And welcome back to Troll Time. I'm your host, Ivan D. Curtis, aka the Troll King, and this is a show where we talk sports, movies, or anything thought provoking. Of course, today we'll be talking Diana Taurasi, women's college basketball, Unrivaled, and of course, Luka against his former team, the Mavs. I don't do this show by myself, so I'll bring in my trusty brother, A. Willie. How you doing, bro?
Hey man, we are in this thing. Both of this guy. Shout out Diana Taurasi, DT. We came in. This was not planned for us
Right.
both to wear our W hoodies. It's just that two brothers thinking on the same wavelength. Again, it's on. Let's get to it.
No, no doubt. Now, of course, yesterday, Diana Taurasi announced her retirement from the WNBA. As I posted, one of the best to do it. I mean, it's her accolades speak for themselves. Too many awards and too much to count or even talk about. But arguably the best to ever touch the court in women's basketball. I mean, true legend. I enjoyed my time. I'm actually one of the fortunate ones, and probably with my partner, A. Willie, that got a chance to see her all the way from freshman year at UConn to her last year with the Phoenix Mercury. So, hey Willie, I'm gonna let you dive into this. But just it was a day that we knew was coming. Just
Right.
didn't know how it was gonna happen because, as I mentioned yesterday, she didn't seem like the type that wanted a farewell
Fact.
tour or anything like that. But just, hey Willie, just talk about your thoughts and experiences watching Diana Taurasi over the years.
Hey man, being from the West, I saw her in high school. So seeing this whole journey and seeing what she's meant for people always put this just in the women's game. And obviously we love the women's game, but we are talking basketball in general because on this show, obviously we are basketball heads. A lot of the people that walk with us on this journey are basketball heads, not just men's basketball, not just women's basketball, just basketball globally. And man, looking at what she did from high school, college, man, I was working in the league. It was my first foray in the league. I was working in NBA, WNBA basketball ops. When she came in after they won the title, and she came in the office, basically that next day, because the draft had the draft. She was, of course, going to be the first pick, and she came in the next day, connected with everybody in basketball ops. Walked up to me when she found out I was from the West. She was like, "Laker fan, Laker fan." So we connected on that, man. And again, era. I'm gonna say this, brother. In this era where it's becoming, it's okay. This is not for everybody, but in this era where we talk about and we have active discussions, and we're gonna talk about one as we get into this show, where we have active discussions about people being talented enough to be the guy or the girl in their respective sports, but they're not wired to be that. And it's okay if you're not wired to be that. DT not only had the talent, but she had the charisma. She wanted to be that person, and she never ducked away from that spotlight. She took all the smoke, all the criticism. She took all the accolades as well. So shout out DT, man.
No, no doubt. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see what she does. Life after the WNBA and just pro basketball in general. Um, it's hard to you can't even speak women's hoop without mentioning Diana Taurasi.
No,
All time leading scorer in WNBA history. The only basketball player to have 6 gold medals, men's or women. Just a lot that comes with her career and the success of it. So just hats off for DT for giving us a good ride. I'll leave on this note where I remember Gino made the classic line, simply, I have Diana and the others don't. And that's simply in her prime. That's how it was. It was no stopping her. And it was just fun to watch. It's now we have these new era of players coming up a heavy burden. But yeah, just went out on her own note. I'm sure she probably would have wanted better, but like I said, once again, hats off to Diana Taurasi. Moving over to women's college basketball.
Hold up, man. Let me say this real quick about her.
Go ahead.
One, I saw in person when she made that left hand three, man, in the tournament. Talk about Kobe making that left hand three on the baseline. DT had one of those moments, man. Crazy, crazy moment. Also, she gave us the silhouette on this hoodie, also, too. I know people think it's a mystery, but it ain't a mystery, man. So I just want to mention that as well.
Hey, the silhouettes are never a mystery as they like for it to think it is. But
Facts.
yeah, moving over to women's college basketball. Just real quick over the weekend, we had Notre Dame and NC State. NC State won that game in double overtime, 104-95. Fantastic finish. I think in that game, one thing I wanted to point out was Sonia Citron. She pretty much showed everybody what she's totally capable of. A lot of people tend to forget about her, considering Hannah Adago and Olivia Miles, but she showed up when they needed. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the win, but she forced her hand and made the game interesting. But it was too much Zoe Brooks, Zaya James, and Sanaya Rivers. Sanaya Rivers went for a triple-double with 14 points. Almost a triple-double, 14 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists. And then Zoe Brooks with a double-double, 33 points and 10 rebounds. But fantastic game. Real quick, UCLA had a tough one on the road at Iowa. Some questionable calls down the stretch of that game, but UCLA pulled it out. USC got by Illinois 76-66. USC is now 25-2, 15-1 in the Big Ten. The other game, LSU and Kentucky. That was a real tough game, and I want to give a shout out to Kenny Brooks, man, because I feel like he does not get enough credit. In the women's game when we talk about coaches. Did a phenomenal job at Virginia Tech and now doing the same thing at Kentucky. They fell to LSU 65-58. Made it interesting in the first half, but LSU woke up in the second half. Flage especially woke up in the second half. She only finished the game with 13, but I think she only had 3 at halftime, but she had 13 rebounds. That was pivotal. Michaela Williams, 24 points. And Anissa Morrow doing her normal number with a double-double, doing her normal with a double-double at 12 points, 10 rebounds. Georgia Amore couldn't keep it going in the second half. She finished with 16, but shot 6 for 22. So it was a struggle offensively for Kentucky in the second half. They got outscored 23-6 in the third quarter, and that pretty much opened the game up for LSU. But it was a great weekend overall for women's hoop. A. Willie talked about some of the upcoming games that's happening. Some tonight. Ohio State, Michigan State. It's at Ohio State. Michigan State 20-7, ranked 23rd in the nation. That's going to be a pretty good one. I actually got a friend of mine's daughter plays for Michigan State. Nyla Hampton, so I'll be tuned in to check that out and see how that goes. But Ohio State has been playing well. Ohio State's coach, McGuff, he's another one that, I remember when he was at Xavier.
He's a good dude. Yeah, he's a good dude. I know him personally. Good dude, man.
Yeah, I remember when he was at Xavier. He had them rocking and rolling, and he kept them steady at Ohio State. But another game I'll be watching, I'm on the TCU watch with Haley Van Liff. She's been playing really well. They play Houston tonight. And that's pretty much it. UCLA on the road at Wisconsin. But tomorrow night is particularly what A. Willie brought to my attention. I'm going to ask you about some of these matchups. A. Willie, you got Creighton, ranked number 22. They're on the road at UConn. Then you have North Carolina on the road at Duke. North Carolina is 8th. Duke is 16th. Tennessee and Kentucky. Tennessee ranked 11th. Kentucky ranked 15th. And I think Florida State and Notre Dame should be a goodie.
Man.
Florida State ranked 24th. Notre Dame ranked number 3. Some heavyweight stars in that game. But just your thoughts on tonight's game and then tomorrow's games, Willie?
Yeah, we got a lot, man. A lot of games, a lot of good games. I can't wait to watch them. Tonight, Michigan State is tough because they play at that frenetic pace, led by their point guard. They push the ball down the floor, man. Again, as a point guard, you love being in transition. You love having that ability to play with that freedom to be able to get up and down the floor. So they're led by their point guard. Of course, they got a really good post player as well at Michigan State too. So their style of play, when you're getting ready for them, especially when these conference games, they start coming up one after another, as these games start to hold more weight as we start talking about NCAA tournament seeding. Man, it is hard, especially now, because the people that haven't played, they don't know this. Everybody now that's playing at this stage of the year, you know this, OG, everybody's playing hurt now. Everybody. Right. So when you play at that pace and everybody's playing hurt because you have the attrition known as the season really starting to take hold, man, prepare for that pace that Michigan State plays at. That's tough. You can't really replicate that in practice, nor do you want to be replicating that in practice at this stage of the season. You're trying to conserve because, as I said, everybody's playing hurt. Everybody's got a jam toe or an ankle that I've been dealing with, or a finger or wrist, something. Everybody's dealing with something, knees, etc. So I'm looking forward to that. I want everybody to go into the tournament with their full complement of players, knowing that everybody's playing a little bit compromised. Of course, that Notre Dame and Florida State game, you talk about CBG, certified bucket getters. Man, it's certified bucket getters in that game on both sides, right? We talked about Citron, who's CBG. Obviously, Hannah Hidalgo. Obviously, Olivia Miles is now in that. Latson is in that at Florida State, man. Wait for this game because, again, another game where both of their coaches allowed their teams to have the respective freedom to be creative offensively. So us as fans, us as the viewers, we will benefit from that, man. The other game I'm really looking forward to, we talk about this team a lot offline. We talk about Duke a lot. We text a lot about Duke. That Duke North Carolina game means a lot. Of course, you got the rivalry. They have their own rivalry going on, Duke and North Carolina, men's and women's side. But about both of these teams is both of them play hard enough. Duke has that frenetic style where they're going to guard you, have defense, will travel. But here's the thing about that, man. Duke plays that style of play, and North Carolina's also been like this also, where they can beat anybody, but they also allow other teams to stick around, and it could be a little bit harrowing when you're watching them as a fan, if you're a fan of both of those teams. With that being said, man, I cannot wait to watch this game. I can't wait for that. And then, of course, coming up, we got the second battle of LA, man. I know we didn't talk about that, but being an LA dude, being a hoop dude and all that, like, man, I can't wait to see the second battle of LA too. So I might be trying to go back to the crib to see it. We'll keep y'all posted on that.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be keeping my eyes out on the LSU Alabama game. LSU's on the road at Alabama.
Yes,
Alabama ranked 20th. Man, LSU, they kind of, I don't know, man. They tick me off in spurts, man. Some moments they look really well, and then other moments they get real stagnant. Yep. And it's tough to watch. But they definitely have three of the best players in college basketball. So I'm looking forward to see how they react again on the road, and then pretty soon we'll be heading into the SEC tournament. You mentioned that when is that game between UCLA and? Oh, that's on Saturday.
It's on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, 9:00. And the only games that day is West Virginia, Cincinnati, Minnesota, and Michigan State. So I'm sure everybody will be primed to watch at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's
Absolutely.
USC and UCLA. Um, I know you rocking with USC. I think USC will probably get them as well, but we'll be on the lookout for that. Hopping over to Unrivaled. Um, we talked about this before. If you're not aware, Unrivaled is the 3v3 Women's Professional Basketball League. Um, been very entertaining for my part because I like to see the player development aspect of it. Just giving you the standings: Lunar Owls 9-1, Rose Basketball Club 6-4, Laces Basketball Club 5-5, Vinyl Basketball Club 4-6, Miss Basketball Club 3-7, and Phantom Basketball Club 3-7. The playoffs be coming here soon. I think the regular season wraps up right around. It'll be wrapping up here soon. Playoffs, I think, start Monday. So no, not Monday. I'm tripping. Um, they'll be starting here. I'm not looking at that. Was the 1v1. Playoffs will be in March. They'll start March. I want to say I'm looking right here. March 16th. So the regular season will end March 10th. So we still got a lot of games left. A lot more unexpected chain of events. I know a lot of players been out. Some players been stepping in and playing. Here recently, one of the hot topics, of course, she's always a topic. Angel Reese, been having a phenomenal stretch of games. And looking really well. Of course, caught some flack for her response after the Lunar Owls win last week. But me personally, I'm cool if you don't like a player. Like I don't care about that. I'm not defending any of that. But my thing is like every time you get a chance to say something negative about somebody is like, to me, that started to speak more about your character than the actual person that's
All day.
being targeted. That's the only thing. Like, there's no way that I have energy to expand on something negative every chance I get. Like, that's just me. Like, I mean, if that's what you choose to do, cool. But I just don't have. I don't understand. Like, how does that make you better? Like at the end, how does that make you the better person? When every time you get a chance to say something about somebody in a negative manner, you do so. So, um, as I made a post about it in comparison too, but does everything Angel Reese has done or does that I agree with? No. But at the end of the day, sports is emotionally played. And if you have played sports, you know this. If you haven't played sports and never had an emotion or never did anything, so to speak, out of character, it's either one, you probably wasn't that good, or two, you played in loser situations, or like you never had any ounce of success. Because
All day.
you can look at any player in the history of sports, and they all have done something out of emotion, winning or losing, at some point in their career. Like that's just a proven fact. Like they're like, so just the constant attack is that's the thing that just makes me chuckle more than anything. But like I said, overall, not to just to expand on the negativity, but overall, it's some people that's never gonna like Angel Reese. Like no, she can come back to the WNBA polished like Asia Wilson, and it's still gonna be people that don't like her. Like they'll still find
People
something.
that don't like Angel Wilson.
Exactly. So like you, so it's like it's really, and that's why I said the whole thing. As long as you can be happy with who you are, that's the only thing that really matters. No matter how many people it rubs the wrong way or anything like that, just be happy within yourself, and to be able to move about. Now, this is the thing. And now some people I know, they'll say, well, you can't do this. You can't say that. And then expect people to feel sorry for you or then cry wolf. I get that. But at the end of the day, we still all humans. Like, we still have feelings. Like, we still, like, no matter what. And my whole thing is all the perfect patties and you know, the all the perfect people. Like you have never made any mistakes. Like, you've never said or done anything openly or behind closed doors. And like, you've never done any of that. Like, and that's the only
Right.
the funny part to me about it. Like, I don't even pretend like I know these people. Um, I know them because they play basketball. Like, I know them because they play sports. I mean, even if you go all the way back to the LSU and Iowa game, the whole mocking of Angel Reese doing the John Cena, that didn't come from her. She was imitating what Caitlin Clark had did in a time or two. So I don't know. Like, the picking and choosing has always been there. That's never going anywhere. But I just think it's funny to me how people muster up the energy any chance they get to say something negative. Like, your thoughts, say Willie.
Um, couple of weeks ago, what was the hot topic as it relates to we love basketball? Not bashing. Asking you. Relates to All Star. What was the hot topic, man? Keep playing hard. Are they competing? Do they care about this? That was the hot topic. So what's weird to me is the very people that say that they are turning off the NBA because I didn't watch All Star. I don't watch regular season games. They don't play hard. They're all friends. They don't want to compete. People that say that, and that narrative is not just an All Star narrative. That is a regular season narrative that people talk about as well. So we get unrivaled, and this is not just Angel Reese, but we get unrivaled. These women are out here competing. Some of them play on the same WNBA teams. Obviously, all of them are friends. You'll get a lot of them are friends. Let me say it that way. You'll see people get knocked down there on a different team. Somebody will help them up because they're there for the upliftment of women's basketball, but they are competing their asses off. And I mean that respectively. They are competing, fam. And so now you can't say, man, these players in the NBA or whatever don't want to play hard, so I turn it off. They're all friends. They don't want to compete. They're not physical. Then when we see it in the W and we see it in Unrivaled, now you mad about the fact that they play hard, they're physical, they knock the shit out of each other, all of that. You can't complain about that. And that's not just for Angel Reese. That's for all the women that play in women's sports. It's almost as if they're not supposed to compete. And that's one of the things that I find very, very interesting when you start talking about being critical of players. And let me say this, man, specifically to Angel Reese. You and I both love this game. You and I both played this game. What things in this game for evaluating players that we attribute this desire, want to, will. There are two primary aspects of this game that we say permeate these two things I'm about to mention. One of them is defense, rebounding. It is out there putting it all on the line to go get all these damn rebounds, and people are talking crazy about the fact that she goes and gets rebounds. The thing is this is attitude, desire. You got to be able to track the ball, all of those things. Because not only is she getting rebounds in her area, when you watch Angel, Angel gets rebounds she ain't supposed to get. They're out of her area. That's desire. That's want to. That's being able to track the ball. Last time I checked, she's the only one in Unrivaled that's got a 20 rebound game. And she followed that up with over 20, and I think she had 15 in her last game as well. So you're seeing that desire, you're seeing that want to, but oh, by the way, she hit some threes. She hit a step back on I think Brittany Griner was guarding her. and she hit a step back at the probably about 15, 16 feet out. So now, not only are you seeing the desire to want to, all that stuff that she always displayed, guess what you're seeing now? You are now seeing the graduation of her skills. People are still talking shit. So, to your point, just shows no matter what she does, people are gonna have something to say. Angel Reese, keep doing your thing.
No doubt. I mean, and we're not even gonna keep harping on it, but it's one of those things. It's like you mentioned. People always ask me like, why do like you like women's basketball so much? One, I say I like because I like women, but then two, I love basketball. But it's always been the nature of how they play the game. Like it's never any nights off. It's ultra competitive, and I even used to say this back when I was young and playing sports and watching women compete. No woman wants to be outdone by another woman.
Nope.
Like in anything.
Nope.
Like so,
Nope.
it,
See
it,
what they say when they show up to the place with the same dress on.
yeah. So it's always been an attraction to that because of the competitive, the ultra competitiveness of it. So, like you said, and she exemplifies all of that in a basketball sense. Forget all the extra curricular. Like on the basketball court, she's going 100 every night. Every game. If she plays, she plays. Like so, that's the biggest thing about it to me. I mean, and then too, I mean, we're in this topic of the magical word, class. oh my God, man! I like, bro. I mean, it took somebody to put it into context for me. We've never heard the use of class so much. And it's one directional. It's one directional. If anything, we used to be saying, "Oh, that's not sportsmanlike," or "That's unsportsmanlike," but never has the word "class" been used so much in a sports setting that I just don't get it. Like
It's
you
the
know,
same.
my whole thing is this: because I've seen it and I lived it. Like I was not the same person when I suited up as I am off the court, or like
Yeah.
even
I
when
don't know.
even when I was coaching, I was never the same person inside the lines as I was outside the line.
Right.
People would come and watch me coach when I coached high school, and they wouldn't even recognize me because like I'm in a whole different mode. And like I said, if you've done anything at a high level, you know that. Like
You
you're
know it.
not that's the good, bad, and ugly that helps make you great.
All
Like
fact.
we look at any of our favorite players or anything. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Like I had mentioned, like Caitlin Clark doesn't need all the defending that people like to display. She don't need it. Like trust me, she's
No.
one of the best players to play the game.
And one of
She
the best shit
Yeah,
talkers too.
exactly. That's what I'm getting to. Like, if
Yep.
you go to a game and you sit close enough, and you can hear and see things, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And that's at any level. I done sat courtside in G League games, and you hear the worst of the worst that you're not
Amen.
gonna hear on TV. Same in the NBA, same in the
Yep.
WNBA. A lot of things you don't see and you don't hear, and you thinking like everybody has this good guy or good girl persona, and that's not the case. Like they know what it takes to be the best on the court, and they try. Everybody's trying to gain an advantage, so it
That's what
happens.
it's about.
So everybody does it. So um, wrapping this up, Luka and the Mavs played Lakers last night. Lakers got the better end, 107-99. Luka drops a triple double on his former team.
Speaking of shit talking, right?
Exactly. 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists. Didn't shoot well, but hey, I always say stats only matter when you lose, and they got the better end of it. LeBron finished with 27 points, 12 rebounds. It's been pretty good to watch. 9-2 since the trade, I think. Um, you know, that's just Luka's fifth game, I believe, in a Laker uniform. But I would be remiss if I said this. Kyrie Irving did put on the show last night
Man,
in a
he is
losing effort.
balling.
Yeah,
Facts.
35 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Was 5 for 11 from three. Klay Thompson didn't have a bad night either with 22 points, 8 rebounds, shot 5 for 10 from the three. But the night belonged to Luka and the Lakers. You being an LA guy, what did you think about the game last night?
Man, you know what, it was interesting watching it because I didn't think that Luka was going to go for 50. I didn't think that because, and we saw it play out. Again, if you know anything about X's and O's and how this stuff rocks, we're going to let him go for 50. We're going to make sure that they tailor their game plan, sending doubles at Luka and all that. And what the Lakers were able to do is the Lakers were able to make them pay, especially early. And one of the things that's been sort of a recurring theme for the Lakers as of late, you see this in all NBA games because of how impactful the three has become. No leads are safe. No leads are safe. We just saw think Minnesota came back from 25 down against OKC and won. And they did that with Anthony Edwards sitting out with, I think he had a calf strain or something. So his minutes were spotty. He was in and out of the lineup during that game. But no leads are safe because of threes. Teams, unless people just lay down, teams are going to make runs. These are professionals. Shout out to Clay, too, because to your point, not only did he shoot a high percentage at three, about necessarily making those shots. It's when you make those shots. So Clay was making big shots as the Mavs were trying to get back into this game and make this game interesting. Najee Marshall did the same thing. Kyrie, man, hashtag point guard life. Kyrie has been reminding folks why he's Kyrie. And what's interesting about this, I talked about this earlier, relates to we live in a climate where we're starting again with all of these things that you and I are doing, right? All of these things that we see from a scouting perspective as well. We're taking you behind the curtain a little bit. Not every franchise player ready to jump off the porch and be the franchise player and set the tone. This is how we do things from day one. Not every player is like that. Some players never want to be that. They just want to be great and not be the pace setter from a franchise standpoint in terms of setting the tone of this is how we do things, setting the tone from an accountability standpoint. Some players never want to be that. That's okay. You can't force people to be what they don't want to be. Other players have to grow into that role. We have normalized greatness, OG. Partly it's talk about this so much that winning the championship is a birthright for every great player. There are franchises that have never won a title. There are franchises that have never been in the finals. Damn, winning the title. Normal to win a title. So we have normalized greatness because the minute somebody wins a title, we start talking about, well, can they win two? Can they win three? And we start judging their legacy on multiple titles because we've normalized greatness. That's what Jason Tatum's talking about. We've normalized what being a franchise player is all about. We just think just because somebody produces at a high level, they're supposed to come in at 18 and be a franchise player. Luka's 25, bro. He's got to grow in that. You got to let him grow in that. Seeing that, and what I'm saying about Kyrie got to that team. They were able to ascend. Kyrie was the pace setter. That does, I can say this from putting the team together. You can say this from putting the team together. Sometimes it's more difficult when your guy may not be ready to assume that mantle yet. Be ready yet. Maybe they're just going on talent. Maybe they're not ready to assume that mantle of being the franchise person. You got to go out and get somebody else to do that. I'm gonna say shout out to my guy that I work with at Nike. Shout out to Nico on this. Everybody's killing him. When he went out and they got Kyrie, when they got Kyrie and they made that run to the finals, and he went out and he got Daniel Gafford, drafted Derek Lively, saying that he didn't know what he was doing then. Saying, or you say something critical about people that sit in these seats and make these decisions, you better know something about your livelihood, your family life, everything that you've established, on how well you put a team together. See, we got too many people that talk about this that people listen to that have never sat in that seat. They don't know what that feels like. They don't know what it feels like when you want to make a move as a personnel person and the ownership says, nah, hell no, y'all can't do that.
Exactly.
So now you can't make a move, or the franchise says you have to do something, and you got to be the fall person for something that the ownership says that you got to do. You got so many people talking about this stuff, and they don't know what that's like, man. So I want to say that, and I said that a lot. You know, that's something that I thought about a lot watching this game. I got personal ties to this. Nico is somebody that I used to work with. Nico is somebody that I hold in high regard. Nico is somebody I can call. Dude. So to be sitting here, and I live in Dallas, man's got death threats. This shit being said, don't know what that feels like when sometimes people above you are telling you to do something or not to do something, man. People don't know what that's like. And you got former players that talk about this, OG, that don't know what it's like, because the dude who we say is the GOAT sells more shoes. The last time this dude played was 23 years ago, bro, or 22 years ago. He sells more shoes than anybody than all of these signature people that are in the league now. You could put all their sales together, and they do not equal Michael Jordan. But guess what? His whole mentality, like when you're on the other side of that table, changed when he got into management / ownership in Washington and ownership in Charlotte. He had a whole different mindset when he was a player. So you even got players that are talking crazy about personnel moves, and you don't know what it's like to sit in that seat. So I just want to say that, man. So I know we have our statement of, let me get something off my chest. That's what I want to get off my chest.
Well, we got to it early. One more thing that I wanted to cover before we got out of here. WNBA news about the Chicago Sky trading their third pick for Ariel Atkins. You know, it's been tough if you're a Chicago Sky fan. I mean, because they went through a whirlwind of changes, and a lot of people don't really believe in management when it comes to the Sky and what their purpose is and what they're trying to accomplish. But you know, it's a tough situation. You got new coach coming in. You know, he's trying to establish a culture himself. And I think they've done a great job of adding a lot of veterans when you talk about Rebecca Allen, Courtney Vandersloot, and now Ariel Atkins when you talk about mainly the backcourt. Because I think their front court is solidified with youth and what direction they're trying to go. But I know I've seen a lot of people. It was kind of, you know, a lot of Sky fans was kind of, you know, turned off by that. I wanted to get your thoughts on what you think about the Chicago Sky trading their third pick for Ariel Atkins with the abundance of talent in the backcourt that's coming into the WNBA in this upcoming draft.
Man, OG, and the pick swaps that they gave up as well. They gave up a lot, man. And I like Ariel Atkins. So, again, two things could be true, because I know a lot of times, as you say, brother, we get people reacting to things as if they can't think about things on multiple levels, right? Like, two things could be true. I can say that I like Ariel Atkins from a defensive perspective, and the other thing that she gives them is shooting. And you and I talked about a lot when you got Angel, who's emerging as a person that can try to space the floor and things. And of course, we got Killer. We call Camila Cardoza, and playing them together. Sometimes spacing was an issue, especially last year when Marina Mabrey wasn't making shots. Spacing was an issue for them. So now with Sloot coming in, a point guard that can really make things easier for everybody, then add an Ariel Atkins, it's clear that they were trying to to address that deficiency. I'll ask you, one of the things that I was concerned about is, I think this is something that we have to think about, and it's got to be more nuanced because we're talking about a league that has less teams than, say, the NBA. So the opportunity maybe to flip it a lot faster. Maybe that's what people are doing. But I'll ask you, what is the direction in Chicago? Are they trying to win now? Are they trying to develop these young bigs? Are they trying to do both? In your estimation, do you think they can do both?
I'll say this. I mean, I think it's going to be a testament to player development to see which direction they really want to go. Because I've made the statements numerous of times that I understood the drafting of Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese, but one of them has to be able to stretch the floor. I don't think this is not college where you can have two bigs that's just going to beat up everybody in the paint. And that's going to be a formula of success because it's not. Because if you look at the best teams in the league that ultimately have the best bigs, their bigs can do both. When you look at Minnesota, you look at Nafisa Collier inside and outside. Even the other bigs that they have on the team are inside outside. You look at New York, same thing. Jonquel Jones and Breonna Stewart inside outside. So when it comes down to it, they have to be able to expand their games in order for it to work. And then not only that, but defensively, they have to be able to be more mobile and defend. Now, Cardoso 6'7", I get it. But if Angel Reese is going to be that 4/5 that's going to expand the court and stretch this, create more space on the offensive end, she also has to be able to defend, fours on the other end. So that's going to be a thing. But
And guard on switches when they put her in pick and roll.
Exactly. So it's one of those. It's one of those things where, like, I can see the angle of where Chicago is going. They've been without leadership since the last time they won a WNBA championship, and it's been so sad in Chicago because every time they win, following everybody leaves. So so it's one of those type things. But I can see the angle where I can see the angle where they're trying to go, but you also then too, like, you look at the it's starting to expand. More teams are joining. We didn't really dive into the W on this episode, but you got the Rockers, you got different teams that's starting to come back. So of course there's going to be more roster space, but at the same time, a lot of these veterans are going to be on their way out the door, so to speak. So you still want to get your hands on some of this good talent that's coming up in the next 2 years or so, because I think it's going to be an explosion in the WNBA with a lot of this talent that's coming up from college that's about to turn pro. And if it was like the 6th pick, maybe 7th, maybe, but the 3rd with this amount of talent coming through the door, and you already got veterans like Sloot and Rebecca Allen. I think Elizabeth Williams is still on the. Like, you still have veterans, so I think it's going time will tell. But like I said, on the other end, I can understand it. I can understand both sides to say that.
Yeah, and I guess this is the, for you and I both sitting in this capacity, man. This is the roster construction piece that I think of it as well. With Killer, Angel, those are your young cornerstones of your franchise that you're building with. Man, damn near the entire league agents at the end of this upcoming season. So I have a choice when I'm building and my young cornerstones are going into year two. The choice of, do I get someone I can have that fits the timeline of my young cornerstones? And the other thing, have them under my control, meaning that's something that, people, when we're building rosters, we say that. So I mean that, taking y'all behind the curtain a little bit. So that's said with all due respect. It's not controlling them, but you have them under your control, meaning you have them for a couple of years on a rookie deal versus the entire league, damn near the entire league, especially these veteran players now are about to be free agents at the end of this season. So I've given up a lot of draft capital. One of the things that you got to make sure that you do, and I'm sure Chicago is giving some research to this. I hope so, but guarantee that Ariel Atkins has to stay. But at the same time, when you give up that amount of capital that they've given up, you also better make sure that you get a commitment to that player beyond this season. Because at that point, why would I do all that to get a 1-year rental if I'm not necessarily in a position where, because respect to these moves, I like what Chicago's done. I didn't think that these moves put them over the top. So if you saying, okay, this is what I'm gonna do to get over the top to get me a title, and you're on some, less need Rams, F them picks type of stuff because we're one player away, get that. But I don't think Chicago is one player away. So I would hope that they get some sort of long-term commitment, especially from Ariel Atkins, especially when you start looking at all the third pick in the draft. Again, like you said, this has all the capabilities of being a very strong draft. And then the pick swaps moving forward. So you got to make sure not only that you keep Ariel Atkins, but the other thing that you want to make sure too is you got to make sure that you are as good as you possibly can be if you're Chicago. Because what you don't want to do is in years moving forward, after you've given up with Washington the right to pick swap, your ass sorry, and they're getting the second and third pick in the draft because they get a pick swap. So you got to make sure that you're good if you Chicago, man.
No, I agree. And if we run down the roster real quick, and we just talk about backcourt players. You got Mariah Jefferson, 8-year WNBA veteran. Ariel Atkins, 7-year WNBA veteran. Forward Rebecca Allen, 9-year WNBA veteran. Kia Nurse, 6-year WNBA veteran. Vandersloot, 14-year. I think this was solely a move to come back and retire. Sky had to be.
Yep. Yep.
And then you got Rachel Banham, 9-year WNBA vet. So I'm with you. I mean, it's going to be something to see because at the end of the day, a lot of the moves that they made currently could set them back quite a time. And this Tyler Marsh, first season as head coach, is known as player development from the Las Vegas Aces. So it better be a ton of development going on if this team. I think it's going to be competitive. I mean,
I do too.
even if I had to swing it, it's crazy because he left the Aces, and then you got Valkyrie's coach that came from the Aces. It's going to be real interesting to see, and that's Natalie Nakase. I think their lineup is really good. When you talk about an expansion team,
Yeah, they're going to give people problems.
and different things like that, but we'll save that for another time and another day. But it's just interesting to see how a lot of these roster constructions have moved about in the W in the offseason. Like I said, as the season gets close, we'll start breaking down different things about the W going into the 2025 season. But A. Willie already got everything off his chest. And
I had to go in. My bad. I had to do
yeah,
it.
for me, last words. I pretty much put everything into perspective. My whole existence is the Troll King is basically just that, just trolling. I'm all about laughs and jokes. I don't take myself serious. So trust, if you comment on my post, I'm not taking you serious neither. But the constant, I know we live in a world of negativity, and ultimately negativity sells. It's unfortunate,
Absolutely.
but it's a fact.
Right.
If you post something on social media positive, you may not get that much interaction. But if you post something controversial, you're going to get a ton of interaction, and a lot of people live for that. I particularly don't. I pretty much follow the code that Zuck set in front of us. He simply asked, "What's on your mind?" And I pretty much post what's ever on my mind or whatever I'm doing at the time. So I'm just following suit. But at the end of the day, as I always say, if you don't remember anything else, I'm here to laugh, show love, promote, talk sports, movies, joke, and troll. Catch us on the next episode.